Right, welcome back to the weekly yarn. It's going to be a weekly yarn with a little bit of a difference today, because obviously we're in the middle of lambing. We've snatched a little bit of time to put this intro together and the exit. A lot of this yarn will be up at the farm with the animals. I've took you up to Amble, which is where we'll go for our car boot sales normally, but not this weekend. The weather was against it, but never mind, we got out, bit of fresh air. We did get some cleaning done on the tractor. The final drive, we got it to bits. We have cleaned the back cover, the seal carrier, the seal dust cover, the spacer for the internal bit, the little cap that covers the pinion shaft, I think, on the brake drum and the brake drum. So we're getting them cleaned in a fashion. Haven't touched the big casting yet. I really want, I want to get that up to the farm. I want to have that steam cleaned, try and get the paint off it. We've removed the outer bearing from that casting for the big bearing, the output bearing. I need to remove the outer race for the smaller bearing on the other end of that final drive shaft. The reason why I want to remove them is I'm going to try and clean both those castings with electrolysis because of the rough surface that under. It's either we'll shot blast them, which I don't really want to do because of a lot of people have mentioned the obviously the nasties that can be left behind hiding in corners and holes and oil ways and things like that can cause you major problems in the future. So we're going to try electrolysis. So we need to remove both of the outer races, because if you remember correctly, the outer race for the inner bearing and the outer race for the outer bearing on the final drive shaft are in both castings. They need to come out because we don't want those to go through the electrolysis process. We don't want to damage those at all. So, as I said, there's a little bit of us cleaning. Those of you who are of a gentle persuasion or you don't like blood and snot and guts, be very careful when you're watching the sheep. We have got a little bit of video there of Gemma and Katie helping a ewe to give birth to twins. And I know raw video like that of real life on a farm sometimes upsets or offends people. So just be aware of that as you go through the video. There is a clip of you being assisted to give birth. A little quick shout out for Shane, Path of Discovery. If you like watching Davy Brown jobs, pop along, see him. Shane and I were talking to each other the other day on email, and we'll mention PCBs. Linked to stud extractions from that casting, and we got talking about carbide drills, and Shane was saying, I got into it through PCBs. Well, I did as well. This is a PCB, double-sided, that I made, and this was for a control unit for that Lister engine that I redid. The Lister engine was start-o-matic. Well, the previous owners lost the start-o-matic board, and what I'll do a separate video on this. I just wanted to quickly show Shane this board. So what I'll do is I'll do a separate video on that and pop it up under the Man from the Mist playlist for those of you that's interested in Arduino and little control microprocessors, programmable microprocessors. Right, so Alan Wittering, I haven't had a chance to thank you very much, mate, for your contributions to the steam cleaner videos. It works. We've got the steam cleaner up and running. As you see in that video, what I did was I took it up to the farm, steam cleaned that first final drive casting with it, and once I changed the fuel filter, all that needed was a really good run through to burn out any of the rubbish that was in the heat exchanger part of it. Now we need a proper high temperature hose for it. So that's the next little step for that one. But thanks very much, Alan. Your contributions are greatly received. Thank you. Jerome O'Brien, I promised you a video on fuel pumps, didn't I? Fuel lift pumps. Haven't gotten round to it yet. As I say, right in the middle of lambing at the minute. Hopefully, I'm going to have a look at my garage because I think I've still got the old lift pump off that Lister engine. And all lift pumps are the same, basically. If I have, I'll get a seal kit ordered and we'll do a video of a rebuild on that pump. Huh? Right, but Jerome, I haven't forgotten about you, mate. We will get there. Right, so I'm going to pop off and do a voiceover for the very next section that you're about to see, which is the little day was Saturday morning up at Amble, when the car boot sale wasn't on, and when you see the weather, you'll understand why. At the end of this clip, look at the little black flag in the middle distance. It's on the Dan buoy for the lobster cages. And you'll see how hard the wind's blown. There's sessions in this video that I can't even hear myself talking on the telephone. So, we'll do a quick voiceover. Hopefully it matches up. Saturday morning. Normally the car boot sale's on. When we opened the blinds this morning in the bedroom, the wind's atrocious. Beautiful blue skies. Thought the car boot sale would be on, so it came out. By the time we got up the house, it was pouring rain, so it came up anyway. This is normally where Amble car boot sale is, in the car park behind me there. This is called Amble Harbour today, but it's not always called Amble Harbour. In fact, the Harbour Commission is still called Warkworth Harbour. And that's because up in the distance there you can see Warkworth Castle. Down on the riverside, at the bottom of the bank, the old harbour wall is still there. And the river used to flow down towards us there on the left and curl around that boat and go away up there past those caravans and come out through the dunes and about halfway up towards Allenmouth. And very early on, in the 20th century, there was a massive storm and it washed the beach away here, and the river started flowing straight down and out the river mouth there. Amble used to be a big coal port, as probably most ports in the northeast of England were at that time. And you can see here the remains of the old coaling staiths where they would load the boats up with coal to take away. In the distance here we've got the hulks. I think it's about 5 boats. There's 2 very clear there. 3 behind the blue boat. There are 3 further hulks lying, just rotting away. I'll get my finger out the way and it'll focus up. There we go. But yeah, so this, up until, as I say, that storm was known as Warkworth Harbour. As you can see, if you look at the flag there, just on the edge of the shot, the little black flag, going hell for leather with the strength of the wind. Now, up there in the distance is Allenmouth. And just before I started doing this video, you couldn't even see the caravans with the rain coming in sideways across the landscape further up. It is trying to brighten up a little bit, but as you see, obviously no car boot sale on today. But I just thought you might like to see lovely little fishing port up on the northeast coast. That building there, the white building, is a lobster hatchery. It's where they strip the eggs off the female lobsters and then breed them on and put them back in the sea. Now then, ladies, what's the matter? What's the matter with you? Are you waiting for your babies to come? Everybody in here looks quite calm, cool and collected. still on the tractor. Let's happy little boys and girls with their babies. Yeah, I'll take you up here and we'll have a look at the Angus and the Angus shed, eh? Look at this. All these ladies in here sitting waiting. Hello little girl, how are you doing? Look at this little girl in here. Because she's got already were born yesterday. Little twins. She's a lovely little mother, look at her. Quite calm. Very collected. And she gave birth to these without any help at all. What we look for is ewes like this up against the wall. We normally find ourselves a wall or a corner to get into where it's quiet out the way and they give birth. They very rarely give birth out in the middle. There's a lady here with a spoon up her bum. She prolapsed the other day. There's another one's got a harness on because she prolapsed. And Gemma says, you know when you put the prolapse back in, you know you've done it right, because the instant you pop the prolapse back in, the ewe wheeze on your hand. Because the pressure's took off her urethra, and therefore she can wee on you, and you know you've got it right when she's weeing on you. Right, let's have a look, because there's a few lying against the wall. I can't see any heads going. There's a few lying against the wall down there. Let's have a walk down, have a look. We'll go down the outside so as not to disturb them. And while we're passing, we'll have a look at the big lads. Look at this big lad here. It's a bit dark in here, isn't it? Oh, look at the size of this fella. Here he comes, wants a scratch. How are you doing, Paco, son? Huh? How are you doing? He likes to get a bit of a scratch and a rub. Do it over the topless. Big lad. These are his little boys. He's babysitting today. These are his babies. But I tell you, mind, these are much more quieter than the cows. Ah, the big lad, aren't you? And his children are the same. His children are all the same. They love a rub, a scratch, a little bit of attention. Don't want the tuppence. There's another big fella getting up, look. These are all Angus bulls. Hey, tuppence. So she's got a calf yet.
She needs the calf, and another one needs the calf. 283 needs the calf.
Are these your newborns in here?
Yes. So this here is Georgie. Okay, see if I can get the little one.
Who's the big in there, is that?
That she needs the calf.
Oh man. Hey, me darling. It's a bit like Liam. These are now like the bulls. Hey little fella. Hey. Hello. Is this your baby? Hmm? Is this your baby? Hey darling. Who's that? Is that Gracie? Ah. Look. Getting her bum scratched. She loves the scratch. That's Gracie. Getting her bum scratched. Because as you say, normally as soon as you pop the elbows, they come out, don't they? He's pulling his little feet back in.
No, it's too cold. Is that a big baby? It is a big baby.
Oh, it is a big baby. length of them legs. Tell you what, you're saying that second one was little. It's not that much littler, is it?
No, I just felt my feet were a bit littler, but it's not as much littler, is it? Right, let's get them in a pen.
What's the matter? Right, so we're getting some bits reduced further, and the good news is the holes that were threaded into the back of the brake drum haven't stripped. It was the bolts. Luckily, the bolts failed, and that was a good thing in a way, wasn't it? Let's have a quick look. So you can see here, the two holes. I've ran a tap through them already, but look. They're not stripped at all. There we go. Right, so they're all right. When you look at the threads, and I don't think, we'll have a see if we can get that close for you guys. The threads are there. But it only looks as if possibly the very top of the thread has been took off. But the bulk of the threads there, I've been through with a tap, cleaned that up beautifully, sound as a pound. That's not going to have anything done to it other than a wire brushing, a clean up and a bit of paint slapped on the back of it. Keep it clean and tidy on the outside, isn't it? Right, final drive shaft. We're getting the seal sleeve off and the dust excluder off the back. This is where the O-ring, the little O-ring sits inside this. So that fits on there. O-ring sits in the bottom of there, doesn't it? And then the seal sleeve goes over the top. Now to get that off, and you cannot even see it really, I put a bit of heat on that. I stood this upside down. So as soon as that expanded, it would fall. So I turned this upside down. This hasn't had a wire brushing yet, by the way. This here is not heat discoloration. This looks like corrosion. Looks like dirt and corrosion from sitting inside the final drive with some emulsified oil around it. Because there's no way I could get this component, the bulk of the steel in here, there's no way you're going to get it that hot to discolour it with my little torch. And anyway, the components down here that I'm heating up. So that was down at the bottom there, wasn't it? I heated it in one spot only, and that would get it to widen there. And it took about maybe a minute and a half, a little bit of heat on there for a minute and a half, Popped a screwdriver under there, and as soon as you twisted it, the whole lot came off straight away. Not a problem. Now, as I say, the seals that came out, you do get the impression somebody's been in here, because yeah, okay, I've damaged this, get it out, and we do by just sticking levers in and forcing them, don't we? But if you look at that, the seal itself, the rubber is nice and soft. The seal itself is clean. You know, that doesn't look like an old seal. So you get the impression that somebody probably has been in here recently. We've got the keyway here. Another reason why I think somebody's been in here recently. Those marks there are where I've been in with the chisel to lift this out of the keyway. But those marks aren't. And that was the bottom. See a bit of corrosion on it. But there, you can see there, marks on that, and looks like some ripping or tearing marks on there. Now, I wouldn't have expected that to leave the factory like that. I would have expected to leave like that. This is key stock material. It would have been manufactured from a bar that thick. Because if we look at that, that is incredibly one tight fit in there. Really, it doesn't even fit in the keyway. Right? But even if we turn that key over, you still kind of get it to fit into that keyway. Now, see, it's not sitting right at the bottom. So the keyway will need cleaning out, and that key probably needs a tiny little bit of fettling. Wants a bit of fettling on the end where I've been at it, but it probably needs a little bit of fettling to go back in. We'll see. The hole definitely needs a polish, and the shaft needs a polish. Let's have a look at our shaft. You see here on the shaft there's a lot of surface rust. Who's this? Daddy Blackbird, come to see Mammy Blackbird. Betty's on a nest there, and I'm positive she's got 3 eggs now, because 4 days ago, I saw the first egg there. Listen to them shouting on there. So it's possible that she's got 3 eggs. She's sitting tight at the minute. But again, we can come in and out the house and she just doesn't even bother. We were in the garden yesterday because it was reasonable weather. Deb was out doing a bit of potting up, a bit of planting, and while she was potting and planting, Betty was sitting on the plant pot next to her, digging up worms and that out of the fresh soil that Deb's had just turned over. So she is not, as I said, tell you this last year, she is not bothered about us at all. She gets on, she messes about there. It's more we get in her way, she doesn't get in our way. Anyway, back to reality, yeah? Let's have back to this shaft. So yes, you can see here, a lot of surface rust that I could have done with a nice lathe. This shaft's got centres in both ends. So if I'd had a lathe, we could have polished all this up. I don't know, it's going to have to be a lump of Scotch-Brite in it and some hard work. Bit of wire, I think wire wheel on this end, Scotch-Brite on the bearing surfaces, on the mating surfaces here that your brake hub fits on, and cover the bearings up, stop them getting full of crap, and then a good clean. That's what we need. Now then, in terms of getting all this clean, because of the state of those castings there, let's have a look at the castings. This isn't so bad here, but this here, where it's been exposed to the weather, you can see here that this is the bottom, and there's still paint left on it, and you can see where the water's ran down and dripped off. But we'll try and get that away to the farm in the next couple of days, and we'll get it pressure washed, and we'll take some other bits and pieces across, like the back cover, the brake drum, that casting. We'll get some bits across there, we'll get a pressure wash, cleaned up, have a look what it looks like. Is it? Right guys, that's it for this weekly yarn. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you like to walk around the farm, seeing the animals. We might, over the next couple of days, if I've had to order some roll foot pry bars, heel toe pry bars, crow's foot pry bars, various names for the same item. I'm waiting for them coming. Hopefully we can get in and get that lower, the smaller of the bearing outer races popped out. You cannot get underneath it. There's a very small lip there where you can get in, but you cannot get a conventional puller underneath that. There's not enough space. And what I'll do is when my tools come, I'll do a little video showing you what we've got to try and get out anyway. So hopefully if we can get those bearings out, those races out, we'll be able to get this casting away up to the farm, get it into some water and get some electrolysis started on it. 3-4 days in the bath, should be nip and clean, shouldn't it? Right, as I say guys, thanks very much for visiting. As always, your time is greatly appreciated. Don't forget, if you've enjoyed the video, please tell your mates, like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next ones. Catch you later. Thanks for visiting now.